they're motoring, and now you feel it, and now you say, okay, now they have something to worry about, because we look at it prior to that play, the Trojans were so, their defensive front is so spread out, their linebackers are playing 10, 15 yards away from each other, because they're more worried about that side-to-side run than they are about the straight ahead. And that time, really, really good push off the line from the right side of the Panthers line. Absolutely brilliant stuff to just move guys out of the way and to dominate that point of attack. And we talk about dominating the point of attack, and we talk about what are you going to, in terms of like the trench battle. We talk about, and what dominating the point of attack means is being more aggressive to the point and pushing a guy off, and not just getting hands on him, and not just blocking him and sending him one way or the other, but actively driving him backwards. It was a really, really, really nice job there from the Panthers O-line. End of the first quarter now. Get the drink, get the water in. The Panthers going to go to our left now, Trojans to our right. Start of the second quarter. Now they're motoring. Now the game feels like, okay, now we can open up.
You are, of course, watching Shamrock Bowl 33 here on CWL TV, live from Energy Park here in Dublin. The Belfast Trojans in green versus the South Dublin Panthers in the white.
Oh, Lally on the catch. And Keith Lally down to the Belfast 22 and ball in hand. And we talk about it all the time. Can you get your best players the ball into their hands? Really good, really, really good job by Cal, sitting back, waiting for him to hit the brake. And as soon as he hit the brake, the ball's right in front of him, into his hands, soft hands. And once he's on the ball, the Panthers are motoring. Fumble on the play. Ben O'Rolligan, ball came out of his hands. Trojans ball, and that's a heartbreaker for the Panthers. First drive that they've really got something going, and the ball pops loose, and it's I didn't see who got the hands on it. I didn't see who came up with it, but this is what the Trojans do. They swarm to the ball. They get bodies on it. They get helmets on the ball, and they try and force the turnovers, and they try and knock you backwards, and they try and win that turnover battle. And all of a sudden, from being just inside the Trojans' red zone, the Panthers are now back on defense, and that's a heartbreaker.
It is, of course, 14-0 to the Trojans. There's been a few more wickets that have fallen in the cricket over in Ringcommons. Bagnallstown 112 for 6 now. 30 overs, looking in deep trouble with 10 overs left to go.
Just a pre-snap whistle there. I think just getting numbers, or just there's a bit of administration involved in refereeing in American football. So you can see a group of the referees, Andy Phillips, Dave Considine, and Jack Murphy, just making sure that they've got everything, timings and turnovers, just properly noted for the records. And it is one of those things that sometimes as a player it can be frustrating, because you just want to get on and play it, and especially if you're used to coming from a sport like soccer or Gaelic football, where it's just a bit more, it flows a bit more. It's it can feel frustrating, but yeah, these things have to be done. Gareth Miller there up for 5, and eyes on Jonah Seary in the backfield, because if Jonah gets it and Gareth Miller, Suntan is leading for him, then you're going to have to make a play on two very, very good players. But Jonah Seary there didn't even come out of his stance, so anyone who had their eyes on him was probably unaware that the play had even started. You can see a bit more tempo in what the Trojans are doing as well, and it's going to be difficult for the Panthers as the day goes on, because just get worn out chasing guys. There's a false start by David Richardson, number 88, just a little bit fast off the line.
You're watching Shamrock Bowl 33 live here from Energy Park on CWL TV. We Have the South Dublin Panthers in the white. Get the Belfast Trojans in the green. Do say hello to us in the comments. We have people watching from everywhere. We've had people from Colorado, Florida, Kilkenny, Australia. Great to see we're going international. It is of course 14-0 to the Trojans. We saw an early score from the Trojans right from the kick-off, and the Panthers have been on the back foot ever since.
Yeah, absolutely fair to say. You know, the first play of the game, and all of a sudden you're 7-0 down. And that is a phenomenal play again by Jonah Siri. And we talk about it again and again and again. His ability to just wait. He got himself stacked up there. I think it was on the back of Mark Davidson. He let the big boy handle what was in front of him. He put his hand on his back and he just waited. And as soon as the hole presented itself, accelerated and gone. And when he's in the open field, and we saw it there was a couple of attempts to wrap him up. He's actually, for his size, he's actually a lot more powerful a runner than you would think he would be. You'd think he might be a little shifty. He runs really, really strong. He's hard to bring down if you try and get him around the shoulders. He was able to bounce one or two guys there and pick up a first down.
We're of course live here at the Energy Park on CWL TV. I'll say thank you to our hosts at the Irish American Football Association for having us here today. Harry Shorthouse here of course, alongside Paul Hunsford from the West Dublin Rhinos.
Yeah, just a bit of I suppose a uncharacteristic so far today mistake. Siri just kind of slipped as he took the hand off there. His knee went down just behind the line of scrimmage. So the down marker says third, but it's actually second and 12 for the Trojans. Garrett Miller and Jonah Siri still in the backfield. Siri there, I've spent all day bigging him up as a player who's able to just follow his blocks and doesn't necessarily want to reverse field. But there, you know, he got a couple of blocks outside. Didn't like what he saw. Was able to bust back. James McKelvey, the QB, throwing a block. You know, I'm not entirely sure as a coach I'd want him to be throwing blocks, but you know, really good effort, and Siri able to break it out and make what was a really good play by the Panthers into, you know, you flip that and all of a sudden it's a 9-yard gain, and these are the ones that can hurt you most. We've got an official's timeout to let the players get some water, and this is you know, this can be really useful at times. You don't have to use your own timeouts to get a water, and it lets the officials, and you can see them in the centre of the field now. They're all getting together, and good communication as a team, because when you're refereeing, you are a team. 7 or 8 of you here today. You have to communicate, and you know, if you saw something on the back, like I saw number 99 do X, Y, or Z, and can you just keep an eye on it the next time? It makes for good. It makes for good refereeing. Good communication makes for good refereeing. Is one of the things that I was always taught. It really is the truth. You know, it's not like soccer where there's one man in charge. Even though we have a white cap and he's he's the ultimate kind of the boss. The seven people out there whose job it is to make sure that this game runs safely and fairly.
And where do you think we're at now, Paul, at this stage of the game?
I think we're getting to the point now where any kind of score for the Trojans is going to make the game a lot harder for the Panthers. But if they can get a stop here, no signal yet. Signal for fourth down here, so we're gonna be fourth and short. I would imagine that the Trojans are going to go for it. Probably, we're looking at a QB sneak, or we're looking at Garrett Miller to try and fall forward for the 6 inches that's needed. But if I'm the Trojans, I'm fairly comfortable with how things are going. They've stopped you once, they've stopped you twice, but that's the value of a veteran player, a guy who's been in the league 14, 15 years. James McKelvey gets his team to the line, spots where the gap is, takes the snap and goes. There's nothing necessarily fancy about it. You don't have to think about it. You're just going to go. You know, Rory McCann coming back in for Dave Gordon on the Trojans O-line, which is really having a great game. McKelvey hasn't been pressured all that much. John Asiri's been able to get out of the backfield more often than not. So really controlling that point. If I'm the Panthers, I'm at the point now where I'm really starting to think that we need a turnover, we need a score, we need something to come quickly.
Now, of course, watching Shamrock Bowl 33 live from Energy Park in Dublin.
A really good play there by Anthony Burke. Got into the backfield, managed to disrupt the play, brought down McKelvey, and there's a flag on the play, and I wonder if it could be for a horse collar. From up here, it didn't look like one. It looked like he got, for it to be a horse collar, it has to be inside it has to be at the nameplate or above, and it has to be one yank down. And for me, he got two hands on him, wrapped him, and then dragged him backwards. It didn't pass that test for me. It didn't pass the kind of, I suppose, what you would call the aggression test, or the Dave Considine just hooshing a couple of players back, guys who want to talk through the decision.
We had a substitution there for the Panthers, number 71, Alan O'Carney coming off. Who's come on, Paul?
Yeah, we've got a block in the back on Belfast. I have to admit, I didn't see that, but we're going to go back for 10 yards. Dave Considine, in fairness to him, right over the play, through the flag immediately. Conferred with Andy Phillips and came to the call. So you can't ask for more than that. The right guy, the person who's in the position to throw the flag through the flag. And I suppose a bit of a commentator's curse for me there. Previous to the last play, I'd spoken about how great the Trojans O-line was playing, and then all of a sudden Anto Burke is in the backfield dragging their QB to the ground. So I'll apologise to all the Belfast Trojans fans for that. That was on me. It seems if I say you're doing well, you're going to automatically mess up the next play. So
You are, of course, watching Shamrock Bowl 33 live from the Energy Park here in Dublin, between the South Dublin Panthers in their first foray into a Shamrock Bowl final. And they are, of course, playing the Belfast Trojans, who are no strangers to the final, having been here 6 times and won it 4. That was a 4 in a row, actually, from 2012 to 2015.
That 2012 to 2015 team is a great example of the cohesion and I suppose the sense of momentum. But even chatting to, there were a couple of games. Pick! We have an interception. Intercepted by Andrew McMahon. McKelvey picked off on the Panthers' 36-yard line. And we just talked about it. We talked about the Panthers being at that point in the game where they needed a turnover. They needed something to happen. They've got it. Their offense has got its best starting field position of the game. Now it's time to go and really, I suppose we always say, like, make it worth it, or kind of send that message of thanks to your defense. They got you the ball back. Go and make it worth it. Go and kind of drive this home now. The Panthers really need to score before half time, even if it's 3. Like I said, you just change that mentality that you're not getting shut out. So this is going to be a big drive. Panthers starting on their own 38. Really good pick with Andrew McMahon, just dropped into coverage. I think he flashed forward, and McKelvey maybe thought that he was coming on the blitz, but he just sat into that flat. And as McKelvey looked to his left side, ended up giving him the ball. So Ian Cal with John Kelly beside him.
You are, of course, watching Shamrock Bowl 33 live from NJ Park in Dublin on CWL TV. Between the Belfast Trojans in green and the South Dublin Panthers in white. You have myself here on commentary, Harry Shorthose, alongside Paul Hunsford from the West Dublin Rhinos.
Like again there, John Kelly gets the ball on side to side. nothing there, and he tried to reverse field, and all. There was more green shirts there, so I've been that soldier. You try and reverse field, you think if they're all over here, they can't all be over there, and all of a sudden there are, and you're questioning whether or not they've only got 11. Ian Cowell on the keeper here. Looked like he had the option of throwing to Andrew McMahon, but it was just really good play. I think it was Stuart Leckie, the Trojans linebacker, who came in, who just sat down on that option, who sat down on that wide receiver screen option, and that's the discipline we talk about. Can you follow your eyes but also do your job? Can you see that the QB's coming out but not panic and try and make the tackle and be a hero on him?
Oh, great interception there from the Trojan.
Yeah, very close to picking it off. Alex Kuzmarek comes screaming over the field, gets a touch on it. It looked for a second like it might fall into Owen Neville's hands, but in the end it falls harmlessly. I suppose if you're the Panthers, it falls harmlessly out of bounds. Really good play, because he closed the angle really well, and Owen Neville's going to go back there to punt the ball away. He's doubling up or tripling up, I suppose, as wide receiver, punter, and defensive back. So big day for him. A lot of running involved, but he'll be looking now with the field position that he has to punt it to just pin. You can see now the left-hand side of the field. If he can just kick to his left and just pin the Trojans back a little bit. He's going off the opposite side. Rolls out on the 9. Tom Morris thought better of trying to pick that one up. And the rule about American football is that the first and second bounce that they take will always be the one that you don't expect. So, especially and this is what you asked me at the start of the game about what kind of impact the field will play. The field, to all intents and purposes, it's a grass field. It's a box that has lines on it. But that's one thing that is different, how the ball bounces. And if you're fielding punts, if you're trying to get on a ball that's bounced, it just does bounce a little more solidly. There's less chance, there's no chance of it getting caught in the grass or sitting down. So you just have to be a little bit more aware of that. Good field awareness by Tom Morris to know that there was nothing to be gained by picking it up. 4 wide for Belfast now. And they just keep feeding Siri, and that's been I suppose the template of the game so far. Even what was it? It's a good play for the Panthers D, in that they got to him before he could reach the second or third level, really. But he still manages to bounce it for 5 yards, and those plays will add up. That 5 yard, that 5 yard, that 5 yard will add up.
This is Shamrock Bowl 33. Live at Energy Park in Dublin here on CWL TV. There's the Belfast Trojans there in the green against the South Dublin Panthers in the white.
It's going to be a first down there, Siri able to recover from the first stumble and then just get himself upfield. Really good adjustment, and he's had an excellent half, and has a touchdown to go with it. Has a lot of yards, a lot of good plays as well. But I suppose for him, the key is down at that far end, at that Wesley end. It's on that scoreboard. It's 14-0, and if they keep the ball and they're able to just grind the second quarter out and get to half time at 14-0, then they'd be very happy.
Have we got one left till half time?
I think we're about halfway through the second quarter, so maybe 6 or 7 minutes left. Carlos Delgado, Michael Ferris on the catch. Did really well. That's another one. A 15-yard penalty on the Panthers for roughing the passer. One of those things that you just can't be giving away at this stage. You've already given up the pass. You've already given up the yards, and all of a sudden you're 15 yards further on, and the Trojans are, from being inside their own 30, they're up around halfway, and now you're up against it. And it's just that bit of extra. I don't know what it is from the Panthers. Are are they playing on their emotions too much? Are they worried about the score? But they just need to settle and go back to what they did for the last couple of drives. You know, they made yards offensively. They shut the Belfast offense down.
We must say, we know there's some of you wondering about the time. There's no clock in the stadium here. It is, of course, inactive, and so we don't have access to a timer to be able to keep track of the time for you, so please do bear with us.
Yeah, so we talked about it, that clock counts up, and unfortunately American football clock counts down, and there doesn't seem to be a functionality for to go the opposite way, so we do try and keep rough track of it. So I think we're roughly about 6 minutes into the second quarter, so
About 10 left.
James McKelvey with one of the plays of the season there. Stephen Daly comes off the end, convinced that he's about to get a sack as McKelvey's staring down Tom Morrison. McKelvey just absolutely Houdinis. It pulls the ball down, rumbles forward, first down Trojans, and that's one of, like, if you're the Panthers here, but you've got to tell your team that's a good play. The coverage is there, the penetration is there. We got to the quarterback, we just didn't finish it. And in this game, you know, you're not going to, you know, it's the final, so you really need to. You're not going to get a chance to iron those things out. You've got to finish those plays, but you know, go and, you know, I would be saying, look, that wasn't that bad. We're not in a bad position because of that play.
Panthers just don't seem to be able to put anything together today.
That's it. It's the together. Like, the, you know, very good play there. A bit of penetration, good coverage. Force a throw that I'm not sure if Richardson thought that he was running a curl and McKelvey thought that he was running a go. It just looked like a bit of miscommunication. You can see it now. They're discussing about who was supposed to do what. It's a good play, but now on second down, can you do it again? Can you disrupt again? Can you get to the point where you're making another play? And we see the Trojans gone back to that trip sponge on the right hand side with Michael Ferris, Tom Morrison, and David Richardson. And they had good success out of that in the first half.
And of course, Shamrock Bowl 33, live from Energy Park between the Belfast Trojans in green and the South Dublin Panthers in the white. You're watching us here on CWL TV. We have plenty of people tuning in from all around the world. Plenty of Americans, Texas, Colorado, Florida, Australia. There's someone from Kilkenny tuning in. Great to see plenty of viewers and from international as well. So please do keep tuning in. Tell your friends all about it. We're here for another while yet.
Oh, pass dropped by Michael Ferris and just flashed open over the middle out of that trip sponge. And so they're going to bring up fourth down, and it looks like the Trojans are either going to attempt a field goal or punt it. We're not entirely sure what way they've set up. It looks like they're going to punt it into and just try and pin that Panthers offense a little deeper.
It is, of course, all Trojans at the minute. The Panthers just haven't been on it today.
No, but there have been flashes, and there have been flashes that they're in this game. And if I'm the Panthers, if we can get to half time, if you can get to half time at 14-0, you would say, look, we haven't been at the races yet, and they're only 2 scores ahead of us. You would say they've thrown everything they have at us, and we're not out of this. And from that angle, from that kind of,
we have 2 minutes 36 seconds left in the half, just for anyone wondering.
So yeah, so the Panthers are going to get the ball with 2 timeouts, probably 2.5 minutes to go. There's time to do something there. That's right. Punt is right up in the air. Pick it up. For a second there, Alan, it looked like Alan O'Carney was was close enough to pick it up and go, and I suppose my spectatorship betrayed itself, and yeah, it looked like he might be able to kind of pick that up and go with it and take advantage of a sleeping Trojans special teams. But they're going to get the ball on the 30. Look, you've got 60 yards to go. You've got 2.5 minutes. You've got 2 timeouts, and you've got very good players all over the field. You can make a play here. You can get the ball into the hands of one of your playmakers, and you can go in 14-7 down. And that's the goal here. And what you want here is a functional drive, one that gets a first down or gets a chunk of yards at once and comes away with something.
What's gone wrong for the Panthers today?
I think 2 drives aside, not even 2 drives. One big play off the kickoff, and one drive where they hadn't started, and I think that was Keith Lally there. Looked like he might get open for a second, but just wasn't able to get himself. Yeah, I'm not. You see, I'm not entirely sure that it's a case of something has gone wrong. I think it's just they've been on the breaks that there's been breaks that haven't gone their way. So, two drives aside, they've been okay, but it's just about executing now. Ben O'Rolligan again on that run. Just able to turn what was kind of a bottled up play into a first down, or into a couple of yards, and just a more manageable set to first down. On the near side here, on this play, I got to be looking near side here. You got Stephen Mooney, who's one of the Panthers captains, and you've got Sean Goldrick on this near sideline. 3rd and 8, I'd be expecting Ian Cahill to, if he's going to throw the ball, to be looking this near side. But so far today, Peter Hamilton, who's covering Sean Goldrick, hasn't given up anything, and we've seen plays from both Andrew Henderson and Alex Kuzmarek. So it's going to come down to whether or not somebody's going to step up and make the play now for the Panthers. Who's willing to go up and catch the ball? Who's willing to make the block, make the tackle?
We have 2 minutes left in the half.
Yeah, just inside the 2-minute warning now. So I suppose the Panthers are probably wondering whether or not they're going to go for it if they get to 4th down and it's manageable. But if I'm watching the play here, I'm probably watching near side.
Now is the time to do something though, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're absolutely brilliant play by Ian Cahill. Rolls out, gets it, sees the pressure coming, able to get out of it, chased by a number of green shirts. I think Neil Graham was the first one on the scene. Really good adjustment by Sean Goldrick to get downfield, get himself open. Just comes off his fingertips, and that's the thing. That's how close the Panthers are now. The flag had gone down. We thought there might have been a flag for the hit on Ian Cahill after he released the ball, but referee Dave Considine has waved the flag off, and the Trojans are going to get the ball back now with about 1 minute and 45 left.
You're of course watching the Shamrock Bowl 33 live from Energy Park in Dublin. About 1 minute and 45 left in this half between the Belfast Trojans in the green and the South Dublin Panthers in the white here on CWL TV. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in all around the world. Great to see so many international viewers.
Punt away there, and Tom Morris is going to go back and try and field it. He's going to take it from his own 15. Oh, and the ball came out on the tackle. It just popped. And that's what we tell guys all the time when they come up. When you're running, if you're running to the sideline, get it in your near arm, because if the ball is fumbled, it's going to roll out of bounds. You're going to keep the ball, and you'll see it in the NFL, and you see it in every level of American football. Coaches are telling guys, get the ball into the hand that's closest to the sideline. because if something like that happens, and it's a very good tackle, great special teams tackle down there by Ryan Hewitt. Just really, really good play. Popped the ball loose, and on another day that hits the inside of the sideline and bounces back in, and so.
We do, of course, have a half-time show coming up, of course, in a couple of minutes' time.
Jake Worry on the handoff. Bit of misdirection there. I suppose it's hard when John Asiri's had the game that he's had not to have the eyes in the backfield every time he's on the field, and not to be worried about whether or not he's going to get the ball. But really, really good disguise there. Jake Worry able to take it up the middle, maybe 12-13 yard gain. So the Trojans are moving again. We saw this a bit earlier, a bit more tempo, no huddle offense, able to. John Asiri there, not able to get anything. Really, really good play by Dominic Luxton. Just got low, clung onto the leg, dragged him to the ground, and just waited for help to come. And we tell, it's another coaching point that you get all the time. If you're able to get arms around him, particularly low, you're able to stop his momentum, there will be another player to come. They won't be able to block 11 coming towards you. So really, really good play there by Dominic Luxton.
Another timeout there.
Yeah, the Trojans have stopped the clock. Just to have a quick chat, I suppose. There's no imperative to go no huddle when they still have 2 timeouts left. So they'll be, I suppose they're looking at maybe having a big shot here. So maybe second or third down. I'd expect a shot play, maybe something like Richardson on a post or on a seam. If you can run him up I suppose up that seam. You hear the crowd here applauding. It was a catch of a water bottle. Water bottle came off the sideline. Big catch by number 89, Andy Moore. Just really, really solid one-handed catch. Probably catch of the day so far. That familiar set now for the Trojans with Morrison and Richardson on different sides. Neil Graham
The Trojans will want a big score. They want to score just before half-time to keep the pressure up on the Panthers going into the second half.
Absolutely, neutral zone infringement there. It looked like the Panthers D-line jumped a little early. It was right in front of us, but we've a second flag in from Ralph Schmier, and he's over the far sideline. So it looked like it might. It looked like it might be something to do with where the tackle was made or how the tackle was made. So rather than giving up a free play, it looks potential that could be something more serious.
So Shamrock Bowl 33, live on CWL TV from the Energia Park in Dublin. Belfast Trojans in green against the South Dublin Panthers in the white.
Yeah, it was still just again one of these, like I said, long time AFL players and coaches will be used to seeing the referees having a bit of a chin wag. Just discussing what went on in the play. So we'll wait to get the call from Whitecap Dave Considine. 2 penalties on it. So the Panthers D-line went early and were offside at the snap. That penalty has been declined. It looked afterwards when Siri bounced it outside that one of the Panthers tacklers grabbed him by the face mask. So we're going 15 yards forward, and that's 2 penalties on one play in a game that you're trailing by 14 against an offense that you know is good, that can move the ball. You can't give them 3 yards. You can't give them, essentially 2 penalties in that play.
Nice throw there from James McKelvey, number 80, who is Tom Morris. That was dispossessed there.
Yeah, really good play by Owen Neville. You know, Tom Morris is really good at stopping on that dime and coming back to the ball. He's a big body, so when he does that, he's able to kind of keep you out of reach. Owen Neville, really good recovery on that. Just drove right through the hips, exactly as I thought. Trusted that his hit would separate the player from the ball, but at very minimum was ending the play. Really good play by Owen Neville.
We are, of course, live here at Energy Park for the Shamrock Bowl, number 33. Belfast Trojans in green against the South Dublin Panthers in white. James McKelvey there.
Oh, what a catch by Tom Morris. Tom Morris on that post, and we just talked about it a play ago, about what a big body he has, and Owen Neville's in face of him. He's there, he's in the position to make the play. He hasn't got roasted off the field. McKelvey trusts him because he's got a big body, he's got soft hands. It's like boxing out in basketball. Once Tom Morris drops his backside into you, once he's got his arms extended, and you see it there, and if any receivers around the league are watching, anyone who wants to come and play American football is watching, that's what we talk about when we talk about making hands catches. His hands come out in front of him. Because he's longer than the defender can't reach over and swat the ball because the distance between him and the ball is his body plus arms. It's a really good catch.
I'll say hello to all our international viewers. Plenty of them, of course, as well. Here on CWL TV, live from the Shamrock Bowl 33 at NHA Park in Dublin. Not long left to go now in the half.
Yeah, we're just, we're kind of up against that, inside that 1 minute thing. Trojans with the ball on 15 though, if they'll be looking to come away with a score here. We've got some movement here. David Richardson, it looks like it's going to be on. Number 88, the wide receiver for the Trojans, has one lovely catch today, able to add a second false start to that now. He was trying to argue with the referee that it was actually Michal Staunton who went, but as we know in American football, as any sport, what the referee sees is final. What he gives is final. So the Trojans just going to go back to the 20-yard line, just just outside the red zone. But again, they will really want to come away with a score here. And looking for Tom Morris, really good coverage by Owen Neville, just on the shoulder all the time. Morris, it looked like an out and up. So he's trying to make it look like he's breaking to the sideline and then going back up. But Neville never bites, never sells out to try and get in the flat or get greedy. Just stays on his shoulder and kind of challenges McKelvey and says, if you want to make the throw, a top quality throw in here, if you want to drop it in to the place where only he can catch it, go ahead and try. But I'm going to be on his shoulder no matter what. 4 wide now for Belfast. Jake Worry, the only man in the backfield.
We do, of course, have plenty of viewers.
Staunton with the play to break it up. A flag in on it. Looked like a fairly well contested ball. I'm not entirely sure what Michal Staunton's supposed to do in that situation. Himself and Richardson are battling for the ball. He's made a play to come through not through the player, but to come through and drive on the ball. That's a tough one. That's a tough one for the Panthers, because it's going to be 10-yard penalty. It's going to be first down, and the flag has been waved off. So I think that's the right call. And some of the people who watch this will ask about, and some of the particularly you can see Richardson, who's asking about, why did you throw the flag if it wasn't a flag? In fact, that's good refereeing, and some of it's one of those things that I kind of wish that the players in the league and the players that I ref particularly understood more, because if you're not sure, throw the flag, go in, have a chat, ask about it. Nobody's asking anyone to be perfect here, not least the referee. So we're going to line up for a field goal for the Trojans. 17 would be a good lead for them at half time. They'd be fairly confident with that. Mark McVeigh, the backup QB, is on the hold. The kick is good. That is a great kick. 17-0. That is an absolutely brilliant kick. Just had enough to squeeze through. That's a 37-yard field goal for the Trojans. 17-0 now. And it's one of those things, we said that when the Panthers came back onto the field with just over 2 minutes left, that they would want a score, that they would want something there. And all of a sudden it's flipped and it's 17-0, and you're just a little bit more out of reach. No. Just as time expired, so we go into the half, it's 17-0 for Trojans. I suppose scored on the first and last plays of the game, which is I suppose fairly fitting for how not necessarily dominant, but they were definitely the better team, definitely the better of the two sides out there. The Panthers know that they have a lot to do, and I don't think it's out of reach, but I think you're asking a lot to ask a team who has conceded 9.6 points per game to concede 18 in a half. It's a long way to go.
And so at half-time, where do you see the game being at?
I suppose the Panthers will get the ball to start the second half. The Trojans will kick off. If that drive doesn't go well, if that drive doesn't yield points, then it's hard to see a way back. But the Panthers are going to have a lot of possessions here. There's no need to panic here. There's no need to go in there and be shouting and roaring and talking about how the game is over. What you need to do now is go in, settle down, talk about what you're going to do for the second half, and then just execute that first drive. Get that first drive right. I wouldn't necessarily be tearing up the play sheet. I wouldn't be tearing up the game plan. There's enough there. There's enough that I've seen that tells me that there's yards to be gained if I'm Steve Mack and I'm the Panthers coaching staff. I'll take a couple of minutes now just to tell the guys just to switch off. It's going to be a longer, half time in the IFL is usually, it's 10 minutes, but it's 10 minutes if the referee doesn't want to get home. It's 6 or 7 minutes if he wants to get home. Go and take the extra couple of minutes because we have a bit of a longer half time. Say nothing for 5 minutes. Let the guys get their drink. Let them have a chat. Try and banish the talk of that half completely. It's done. Move on, and then just say, look, this is what worked, and this is where we think we're going to go. And second half, just execute those things.
And so the Panthers need to come back strongly. They need to come back pretty straight after the break.
Absolutely, that first drive is going to be huge, and it really, and it starts with just feel the kick well, get a couple of yards on the kick, and then your first drive. Can you execute your first play? Can you execute your second play? Can you do 2 or 3 decent plays, and then just settle in and get back to your game plan. For the Trojans,
more of the same.
Keep going, keep doing what you're doing, keep feeding John O'Seary, keep mixing it up, and occasionally take that shot and test that Panther secondary and see what that brings.
What do the Panthers need to do to come back into this?
I think more of it. I'd like to see Ben O'Reilly touch the ball more. I'd like to see simple stuff. Just get the ball into the hands of your playmakers. What they need to do, stop giving away penalties. You look out there, probably left 90 yards on the field in terms of penalties. The first touchdown led to a 15-yard penalty that indirectly led to the second touchdown, which was also contributed to by a penalty. And then this field goal comes from penalty upon penalty, a face mask on a free play that you didn't have to give up, and it's just so. Yeah, I mean, discipline's the big one, and then ball in hand of your better players. Find a way to get the ball into Sean Goldrick's hands. Find a blocking scheme that makes Ben O'Reilly be able to run up the middle. If that means putting an extra offensive lineman in there, finding a fullback and just putting him behind Stephen Mooney and letting Mooney blast away forward. If that's what it's got to be, then that's what it's got to be.
And it could have been so much worse for the Panthers. The Trojans have had so much ball.
Absolutely, and that's it. You know, that's what I would be saying if I'm a Panthers coach. I'd say, look, we haven't played here. We have not played well, and we're only 17 now. 17 is absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. 3-score game, you're back. You know, you get 3 touchdowns, you're ahead by 4, and that's doable. That's absolutely doable with the big playability that the Panthers have, with the coaching staff that the Panthers have, with the players that the Panthers have. They are capable of scoring 3 touchdowns here. It's just about whether or not they execute and go and do it. Now, you know, American football, we prepare loads, we train loads, we have these game plans. Effectively, what it comes down to is 11 guys on the field at a time who are going to bash the heads off each other, and it comes down to who's willing to do it. And that's what we're into now. We're into the do-it phase of the game. And if I'm the Panthers, I'm looking for 4 or 5 guys who are going to dig deep. And it might come from somewhere that hasn't come all season. It might be a backup, or a quieter guy, a guy who hasn't been on the, you know, who isn't as vocal, or, you know, hasn't made as many plays this year. They might just have to go out and make a play. And if that's what it has to be, that's what it has to be. And kind of let's go and do it is got to be my message. And, you know, and the other thing, look, the Panthers came into this as the underdogs. They weren't expected to win the semi-final. They probably, you know, if you'd have sat down and drawn, because the league went from 6 playoff teams to 4 playoff teams, if you sat down and drawn them up at the start of the year, you might not have had them in it. You know, such was the strength of teams like Limerick or the Dublin Rebels, teams who didn't make the playoffs. For that end, I would say, look, the pressure's off. You know what you're playing. You're behind now. Go out and play with a sense of freedom. Enjoy it. Play with a smile on your face. Try and enjoy the next 24 minutes. The last 24 minutes of football that you're going to play till March.
And of course, it is only 17, so there's plenty of time left in the game.
Absolutely. There's 24 minutes of football. What we saw from the first kick of the game was a play can be made at any time.
Okay. And that's it from us here on CWL TV for the moment. We're going to have a break for half time. We'll be back for the second half shortly. We'll talk to you then.